class 6th NCERT Science, the 5th chapter, Separation of Substances. So there are many instances where we separate a group of mixture or else a group of components. Let's say we have lemon rice. So inside the lemon rice, you must have seen the chilies in it. So we separate the chilies by our hand. So we just try to separate the chilies from the lemon rice with the help of our hand. As well as you have the curd. So we churn the curd to separate the butter. So we are trying to separate the curd from the butter by the process called churning. As well as I have another method. So this next instance is I have the tea. So inside this tea I have the tea leaves in it. So what I do is I try to pour the tea like this. Yes. So here when I pour this tea into the strainer, the tea here into the cup. So this liquid, so the liquid state or as the liquid tea is here, and here you can see the unwanted particles or else the tea leaves which are there. They remained on this strainer. So the tea powder, it got stayed on its strainer. So here I got my tea and I can drink it. So here we can separate two components. So you can see the tea powder which is there, it remained on the strainer, and you have the liquid which got separated from the tea leaves. So you can see not only this instance, we can see a number of instances in your day-to-day life when we separate the unwanted particles or as the harmful substance from the useful ones. Okay, we can also separate, the mangoes from the rancid mangoes, right? So we can separate all the mixture of components. But in this lesson, let's learn few methods that we can separate it very easily, right? So first method we have is the hand picking method. Hand picking. So this hand picking method, when you have is let's say I have the almonds and dates right here. So this date is slightly larger than this almond, right? So I wanted to separate this almonds and the dates. So what process I need to use? Yes, we use the hand picking method to separate this mixture. So what I do is I just try to separate this dates by my hand like this. So I just try to pick it like this and put it aside. So here you can see the almonds. This almond remained on the plate, and here you can see the dates where I separated it by my hand. So this hand picking method we use to separate slightly larger sized impurities. So we use to separate slightly larger sized impurities. Okay. And next, the second method. Understood the first method, hand picking method, when we pick up the dates from the almonds. And the second method is you have a threshing method. You have the threshing method, the second method. So this threshing method, you must have seen fields, right? So you must have the fields. So inside the fields you have a number of stalks lying on the ground. So each stalk consists a number of grains in it. So it has more than thousands of grains each stalk contains. the stalks which are there, they try to dry up all the stalks in the sun. So under the sun. So they try to dry all the stalks under the sun. And what happens here is after getting dry, they take a stalk and they try to beat on the rock like this. So they beat all the stalks on the rock. So here the grains which are there, they try to fall on the one side, and on the other hand you have the stalks where they throw off. So they beat on the rock on the one hand. On the one side you have the grains where they fly up and fall, and on the other hand you have the stalks where the stalks were thrown. So this is the very simple method to separate the stalks from the grains. So the process of separating the grains from the stalks are called as the threshing method. So this method is called as threshing method. But nowadays the threshing done by machines. So machines, machine. And next you have the winnowing process. So this winnowing process, we use this winnowing process to separate the lighter particles and the heavier particles. So here I have groundnuts. This is the cover. Here I have the cover of groundnuts. So this is the cover of groundnuts, and here I have groundnut. So how can I separate the cover from this groundnut? Yes, by blowing it. So if I blow, if I crush this and if I blow the cover of this groundnut which is there, it is blowing off. You can observe like this. So the cover which is there, it is flying by my air. So you have the lighter particles is the cover, and you have the heavier particles is the groundnut. So the heavier particles, they stayed and they remained on the plate, and the lighter particles, they flew away. So this process is called as winnowing. So separating the lighter particles from the heavier ones is called, so this method is called as winnowing. Okay, when we blow off the lighter particles, or else the very lighter impurities, they flow off, and the heavier particles, they remains and they stays there. So separating the lighter from the heavier particles is called as winnowing process. Clear? Understood? Yes. Now let's go for the next one. The fourth one you have is the sieving. This is sieving method. Here I have a sieve. Yes. Yeah. Here I have a sieve. So this sieve has some holes in it. Okay. So these holes, here you can see the holes in it. And now what I do is I try to take a plate, and I kept this sieve on the plate, and here I have some kismis as well as some white sesame, as you can see here. So I try to put both the mixtures. I added some white sesame as well as some kismis in it. So I try to shake this one like this, and here you can see the white sesame lying upon the plate. You can see the sesame where you can see the lying on the plate, but the kismis, it got stuck on the sieving machine. So it got stuck on the sieve, and here you can see the white sesame where it fall on the plate. So here this sieving method is useful to separate the smaller sized impurities from the larger sized ones. So here it is, this sesame is really very small that you can't see from this video. You can see the sesame which is really very small, and here this kismis is really big. So this is big, this is the bigger one and this is the smaller one. So this kismis, this sesame is bigger than this kismis, is smaller than this kismis. So you can separate the both by the process called sieving. So we can separate slightly larger sized impurities from the smaller sized one. So that method, that process called as sieving. And now understood you have all the methods. So we have learned 4 methods. Hand picking method, where we separated by our hand, separating the dates from this almonds, as well as separating the lemon rice from its michis, chilies. And next you also have the second method, threshing, where a bundles of stalks beaten to free the grains as well as the stalks. And next you also have the winnowing method, where if you blow, the lighter particles they flew off and the heavier particles they remain, or else they stay on the plate. And next you have the sieving process. So here we got a sieve, and here you can see the kismis. It helps to separate the larger sized impurities from the smaller sized ones. You can see the kismis right here. When I added few sesame and it went under, so you can see the smaller sized particles they go down and the larger sized impurities they stay upon the sieve. So these are the few methods. And next you have sedimentation, decantation and filtration. First method you have, sedimentation, decant, and you have filtration. The 3 methods: sedimentation, decantation and the filtration process. So first of all you have the sedimentation.